You want to roll a Marauder in Path of Exile Scourge, but are not sure where to start? Or you're about to ascend but don't know which Ascendancy to go for first to go as fast as possible? If so, then this is for you. To keep things as realistic as possible, I won't be using any leveling gear with the exception of the boots. And the boots I'm using are 7 League Steps. These only give me 50% increased movement speed and no other stats. This just allows me to do more in a shorter period of time, meaning it's much faster to edit this video. Hello Exile, you're watching Altek2k Gaming. Once you get to Tarkleigh for the first time, you'd be forgiven for feeling a little short-changed. Whilst most of the other characters get to choose from like 5 skills to start, we only get 2, Molten Strike and Ground Slam. Molten Strike has great single target early on, but is not so good for clearing packs, and so we're going to go Ground Slam. Smite is also on offer from Nessa, which does a bit of clear and also does single target really well. Unfortunately, the AoE just isn't there to make it feel good early. I've tried a couple of different weapons combinations, sword and board, dual wield, or two-handed. Two-handed is by far the better option early on. As the Marauder, we do pick up Ruthless from the beach, but our attack speed just isn't fast enough early on to make this pay, so we'll be swapping this out as soon as possible. However, our first 2 link will be Ground Slam and Ruthless. Leveling throughout 1 covers pretty much any other character. Run through the coast, try not to kill anything, and try not to die to fire and fury. I failed. I don't think it was entirely my fault as I did get stuck. We then go to the mudflats to kite the rowers and steal their nests. We head into the submerged passage, grab the waypoint, and then go meet Hellrake. Once he's down, pick up medicine chest and go back to town to hand in Mercy Mission. For the Mercy Mission reward, we're going to pick up a Quicksilver Flask and the Onslaught Support Gem. We're also going to buy Chance to Bleed from Nessa, which will replace Ruthless. Our first 3 link will be Ground Slam, linked to Chance to Bleed, and Onslaught. For our Breaking Some Eggs quest reward, we're going to speak to Tarkleigh, and we're going to pick up Ancestral Protector. Tarkleigh should now have some stone axes in stock, so we'll buy one of those to replace our Driftwood Maul. We're also going to want to buy any non-chest, multiple red socket item. We do this because we're about to get a couple of auras. We're now going to talk to Nessa, and we're going to buy Dash, Molten Shell, War Banner, and Blood and Sand. If you can't afford all of these, then do buy them in the order that I specified, and just leave the ones until later that you can't afford. The Marauder is one of the only characters not to get a movement skill as a request reward. Worse still, the movement skill he can buy from Nessa, which is Dash, requires more dex than he has to start with, which means we might actually struggle to get this on before our second movement skill arrives. But we should try as hard as we can to get what we need. As a melee character, our success is going to be bound to our ability to upgrade our weapon and keep it up to date. Fail to do this, and we'll fail to succeed. For this reason, if we haven't picked up a Jade Chopper yet, we're going to want to buy one from Tarkleigh. Also keep an eye out for Blacksmith's Whetstones and Rustic Sashes so that we can do the Heavy Vendor Recipe. If you don't know what the Heavy Vendor Recipe is, then I have a guide to this. It's called Power Leveling Through the Acts via Vendor Recipes or something like that. I'll put it in the description. Once we've destroyed Brutus in the prison, we're going to head to Tarkleigh and pick up our reward. This will be Leap Slam, which we're going to swap out for Dash. We're also going to buy a Life Tap support from Nessa, which we will link to Leap Slam, so we can leap more often without using our mana. Early on, this will require us to use our Life Flask a little bit more often than usual, but it's easily sustainable. Once we've found Mavel's Cavern and have headed back to kill Fairgraves, our skill tree should look like this. And you should have just picked up Kinetic Impact for the physical damage with 2-handed melee weapons and the 5% chance to deal double damage. Once you've killed Fairgraves, go back to town and grab the skill book, and also grab from Nessa as a quest reward, Static Strike. We're going to use this up to the Chamber of Sins in Act 2, providing we have the Jade Chopper. If you don't, either buy one or stick with Ground Slam. Static Strike will replace Ground Slam in the 3 link, but keep Ground Slam leveling because we're going to switch back to it later. The reason we use Static Strike here is because it allows us to hit enemies and then run through packs and blow them up with lightning instead of having to stand still and hit them. So it's just that little bit quicker at moving through the level. It's also pretty damn effective at killing Mavel. After killing Mavel, head to Act 2, and once in Act 2, we're going to head out to the right, go all the way across to the crossroads, and then head upwards to the Chamber of Sin. At the end of the Chamber of Sin, we will kill Fidelitas, grab the Baleful Gem, and then head back to Act 2 to pick up our quest reward. For the quest reward, we can grab anything as we're not going to use it anyway. Instead, we're going to go to Yena and we're going to buy a Herald of Purity, which we're going to swap for Blood and Sand, and a Blood Rage. If you haven't dropped one to this point, buy a Wood Splitter from Groost, providing the colours are good. If you do have the Whetstone for it, then we are going to upgrade this axe. Head out of town to the left now and go as far left as possible. Enter the Weaver's Chamber and kill the Weaver. Once the Weaver's down, go and pick up Melee Fizz as our quest reward, and buy a faster attacks from Yena. Melee Fizz will replace Chance to Bleed in our 3 link, We'll be moving this chance to bleed to our Ancestral Protector. Astral Attacks will of course be linked to Leap Slam. We'll also be heading back to Act 1 to pick up our skill book after opening the passage that Piety sealed in the previous act. While heading back, grab Maim and link this to our Ancestral Protector to make a new 3-link. Ancestral Protector, Chance to Bleed, and Maim. Now we're going to go and kill Creighton and Oak and help Alira. We help Alira for the resistances and the mana. After this, head up to kill the Val Overseer and head into Act 3. After killing Piety in the Crematorium, pick up Determination as the crest reward. This will make us incredibly tanky. Take out all existing auras and just have 2 auras, Herald of Purity and Determination. And as usual, if we killed a boss, it's time to upgrade our weapon. And if you haven't been fortunate enough to pick up a double axe yet, we're going to buy this from Hagen. We will want to vendor recipe this or use essences to upgrade it. And actually, I forgot to mention, you want to pick up essences whenever you find them while running through the act. They are incredibly good when starting out a new character without much gear, as it allows you to upgrade any white off the floor to a rare, which is much more powerful. It's basically a free alch without having to spend the alch, which you're going to need later in Act 4 to buy skill gems. The best essences to use on weapons are the physical damage ones, and the best to use on other armour are the resistance ones. At a push, we can also use elemental damage ones on the weapon. But do note that the heavy vendor recipe will probably beat most early game essences. Now run through the sewers, and this is where I started dropping my first 4 links. If you drop a red, 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 green, we will be switching up our 3-link Ground Slam to a 4-link with Ground Slam, Melee Fizz, Onslaught and Chance to Bleed. On our second 4-link, we're going to upgrade Leap Slam to have Leap Slam, Faster Attacks, Endurance Charge on Melee Stun and Life Tap. Shortly after killing Gravicius, we should level up, and this should give us the Art of the Gladiator, which means we can now use a chest piece without penalty. We can also head back to town and grab an Ancestral War Chief, which we will swap out for Ancestral Protector. Do keep Ancestral Protector leveling in the background, as we will be using this again later. After killing Piety for the second time, we're going to head up the tower to Dominus. We should now be heading for Golem's Blood. As soon as we get Golem's Blood, upgrade to the Mastery that gives us 50 to maximum life. We will be very tanky when killing Dominus, so the only thing that really stands a chance at killing us is Bleed, which he deals in abundance, so do be careful. In hindsight, I would have actually picked up Enduring Cry before this fight from Act 1 in order to get the big heal which would keep us alive. Once we down Dominus, head to Act 4 and head straight into the Dried Lake. I reached this point in 2 hours and 10 minutes. After the Dried Lake, use the banner that we dropped to open the gate into the mine and head through the mines, freeing Deshret in the mines level 2, before heading to the waypoint in the Crystal Veins. Now head back to town and pick up the skill book for freeing Deshret. We're now going to head into Normal Lab to complete the Labyrinth. This will give us our first Ascendancy, and we can ascend to either Juggernaught, which is the most tanky of the builds, Chieftain, which is good for totems and fire builds, or Berzerker, which is ridiculous for attack speed because of its unique bonuses to rage. If you roll a Juggernaught, this will be the most tanky of the 3 options. I suggest going Unstoppable first for the 10% increased movement speed, as well as the really nice Cannot Be Slowed Beyond Space value, which means we cannot be frozen, and cannot be stunned. If you've gone Berzerker, then you pretty much come here for the rage anyway, so get Crave to the Slaughter first to actually start generating rage, which gives us movement speed. I would get both of these first Ascendancies regardless of whether I was going to use them later, purely because of their utility and extra movement speed, which will help us get through the act much more quickly. The Chieftain is the only character in the class that doesn't give us movement speed as its first Ascendancy, either directly or indirectly. For this reason, picking what you do here is entirely up to you, depending on what you're building. I will be building this into a totem heavy build, and therefore I will be going for 2k Harmer, War's Herald as my first Ascendancy, which gives us 100% increased effect of buffs your ancestor totems grant while active. This is like a double strength Panopticon, which I'll also be getting to give us 150% increased buff effect from ancestral totems, meaning we'll get absolutely ridiculous melee damage and attack speed from the 2 totems. If you would like me to continue this guide as I level the character into a totem heavy build, then please tickle that like button to let me know that that's what you want. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.